Ladies and gentlemen, you're still hanging out with myself, M-Power RSA, right here on Rhodes Music Radio. And I did promise you to have him on the line, Kojo Akusa, the man who's been in the game and doing some amazing things, someone who really does his thing. Such a unique sound he has. And we have him on the line. Mr. Kojo Akusa, welcome to House Grooves.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
I trust and hope that you are very busy man to get hold of, eh?
Yeah, very busy. In fact, I had to stop on the road somewhere to do this interview.
Let me start by saying thank you so much for actually making the time. I know that you, besides music, do have other things that you do in life. But right about today, I want us to start first with the music. To me, you are someone who's been in the game, somebody who's been giving us some great music, worked alongside some of the greatest, in the industry, the likes of Takapo, and we really appreciate your sound. But I might not be doing the most in terms of introducing you, and telling the people about you. If you had to tell us who Kojo Akusa is, what would you say?
Yeah, Kojo Akusa is basically an artist. Ever since I've been a child, I've been an artist, visual artist. I got interested in music at a young age, house music specifically around beginning of high school. Yeah, so I've always loved music. I've always loved dance music, creating art. So Kojo Akusa is, it's my name, my real name, but kind of like shortened my middle name and my surname. So it's not really a stage name. So I'm originally from Ghana. I live in SA, but born in Russia. My parents are Ghanaian. They met in Russia. That's where I was born. So I've spent most of my life in SA. So that's pretty much how I got into house music.
Your sound is very unique, it's very synthy, a lot of pads. It takes you through, it just takes you somewhere, it's got that nostalgia effect. Can you take us through your sound and some of your inspirations?
Yeah, like you mentioned, I love using pads. I've got this interest in very melodic sounds. I think I have this thing which has to do with space travel, so I like to kind of give people this impression as if they're being taken out of the planet into on a journey in space. Yeah, so that's why I tend to call some of my tracks deep space. Yeah, so it's kind of like feeling as if you are in a different environment, when I listen to my stuff, especially when let's say if at night you close your eyes and just listen, you can listen to so many different sounds, and each time you listen to the track, it feels different. You can always hear something interesting in there that you didn't hear before. That's the kind of feeling that I want people to have when they listen to my tracks.
And so the EP Broken, interesting name. What's behind the EP Broken?
I think the name was kind of random. It was random. I can't really remember exactly how I came up with that title, right? But I wanted to go along this concept of things being broken and fractured and kind of being put together again, right? So if you check most of it's 3 tracks in there. It's either broken or it's fractured. Right? I can't remember exactly how I came up with that title, but yeah, now I'm confused. I can't remember how I came up, and I can't remember. I guess it was very random.
Interesting. You are one person who's very vocal about the house music industry, and game, so to speak, be it the problems we are facing, and you do it in a very humorous way. What would you say about the state of house music and the industry in South Africa currently?
You mean the house music in general, or deep house, or?
I would say deep house simply because you reside more so in that style. But I feel like some of the problems we do have in deep house music specifically do somehow are similar in terms of house at large now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. One thing I can. Okay. The state of house music. Okay. Where I want to start is house music. It's probably the most popular genre in South Africa. I feel like South Africa kind of like is the capital of house music in the world in a way, specifically deep house, because it's one country where house music is quite mainstream, unlike even in the US where it came from. There are a lot of people who love house music in South Africa specifically, and people who actually are well known in this country, right? Let's say someone like Andy Compton, who's a very famous deep house producer here in South Africa. He's not actually that well known in the UK, So house music is part of South Africa's culture in a way. But as far as the industry is concerned, it's always been a very underground, very niche genre in a way, because it's not something which is, although it's widespread. A lot of people love house music here. It's very well known here. From young to old, but it's still a very niche and underground genre. There's one thing that people say, that you can never really make money from house music, or you can't become rich as a house music artist, right? And there is some truth to that, but there are people who are succeeding, right? Sometimes we say that it's a small cake or a small pie, right? And a handful of people have a majority of that pie, and the rest of that pie is shared by everybody else, right? So, but I think the challenges that we have in the house music game is pretty much the same as any other genre. When I think of it.
Now, you mentioned the money part now, and you are one person who, I would say, ventures out to other industries as well, and construction, so to speak. Now, for a young music producer out there who particularly produces house music or deep house music, considering that we do have this high rate of piracy, number one, and other challenges that are the reason why perhaps one cannot generate as much, would you ever advise them to also tap into other industries or have something to fall back on? What would you say to just keep that monetary value and also that monetary income to fund their dream now?
Yeah, always. In fact, I always give people advice to do something else. Even if you say that it's your passion or it's your dream to be a producer or a DJ, I always advise young people to one, if they're still in school, they should at least get a profession, something which they can always fall back on, or so that they can be able to make money while they pursue their dream, because it's a very cutthroat industry. It's very, very tough. Music in general, I think it's something which it's a very tough industry. It's difficult to succeed, to become very successful, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So, in order just to keep yourself going, you need to find ways to at least put food on the table while you work on your brand and all those other things. For me personally, I've decided to make sure that I have more than one source of income, right? I've always thought of it as a hobby in a way. I never really thought of it as a career. So that's why I'm always doing something else, and just kind of like the life which I've built for myself, and the direction that I found myself going as while I was growing up. Music just happened to be something which I loved doing. I love being creative. I love creating. I've never really thought of it as something that I was going to make a lot of money from. So I try to be realistic. I don't try to sell people dreams, but it's possible. It's possible to become very successful. But I always say that, okay, make sure that you've got something on the side that you're doing. You've got a profession. You've got and if you're going to do this full time, then make sure that you learn everything possible that is needed to succeed. Learn about the business of music, right? Don't just say that, okay, this is my dream, right? Make sure that you're always learning. Make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. Make sure that you become the best at what you do, right? So it's at the end of the day, yes, have the dream, but then also make sure that you're able to feed yourself, right? I think we shouldn't have this illusion that if we see one person doing very well, right? So that's like the 1%, right? 1% out of 100 becomes that famous and rich and all that, right? So you need to kind of like be quite realistic and say, okay, this is the way that I'm going, right? But then I need to make sure that I'm cool, right? I need to make sure that I'm fit.
Thank you so much, Kojo Akusa. So in terms of music, in terms of Kojo Akusa moving forward, what can we expect? I went through your page and you promised us an EP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm working on an EP now. Plan to drop the artwork possibly this coming week. The tracks are not actually finished. So one thing I've been trying to teach myself is making sure that the project is at least 99% done before I announce it. Because when you tell people what you're busy with, then something happens to derail you and derail your plans. But yeah, I'm working on the EP. I think it's gonna be 3. So far, I've got 3 tracks, but I'm thinking of adding another one, so it might be 4 songs. Yeah, so I'm gonna drop the artwork next week, and very likely by the end of the month, the last day of the month, I'm going to put it on Bandcamp, and then first 2 weeks of next month, then it's gonna be on other platforms.
And so people who have just discovered you right now on the show, how can they get hold of you?
Well, yeah, you can find me on Facebook, my Facebook page, Kojo Akusa. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, not that much, but I'm basically on all your social media. You can check me on, search me on
Instagram?
Yeah. If you wanna, Instagram, Facebook. If you want to hear my mixtapes, you can find me on Hear This. Just search Kojo Akusa on Hear This, or SoundCloud, or Podomatic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kojo Akusa. Right here on the show, we'd love to say thank you for your time. First of all, for you stopping on the road just for the interview. We highly appreciate that. And we welcome you anytime here when you've got music, when you want to deliver us a mix. You are 100% welcome. And please enjoy the rest of your trip, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Kojo Akusa, we've had him right here on the line. Playing music from him right now. This is Kojo Akusa alongside Lesego and Ara Soul Sex. This one is called Lord I Thank You, Your Glory. Please enjoy.